Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Katsu post Oldheim and with the new Dusk Till Dawn set being released, and just kind of give my thoughts on the hero, some minor changes I've made, but really just kind of talk Katsu while I'm also talking the deck and just kind of give my overall thoughts. If you're new to the channel, welcome, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, y'all are amazing. Really appreciate everything y'all been doing. Also, feel free to check out the Patreon Discord down below. My Patreon videos might not go up a day early like they normally do. So normally my Patreon videos go up a day before or it's the same video, but it goes up a day before because I give my Patreon members access to my videos early. But right now I'm in Europe until the 14th, so that might not happen. So for people that are on Patreon, I appreciate you supporting through that. It's just a little bit hard for me to upload them. Like, I don't know if I can schedule them. I'll try to. But regardless, thank you so much for the support. But yeah, we'll get right into it. So Katsu, like we've talked about in prior video, is in a pretty good spot. And I don't think Katsu really has, or at least my version of Katsu doesn't change a whole lot because I wasn't teching for Oldheim. I wasn't trying to beat Oldheim. Oldheim was literally just a loss, and I chalked it up to a loss, and I was okay with that. And so for me, it hasn't changed a whole lot. What I think is going to come up in the new meta, I think you're going to see a lot of Uziri. I think you're going to see a lot of Lexi, obviously, still, even with the Bullseye Bracer ban, which isn't really a ban for her, in my opinion. But regardless, I think you'll see a lot of her. And I think you'll see a lot of like new heroes like Vincent, a lot of Bolton. And I also think you'll see a lot more like Fi, a lot more aggro, like Briar. There's a lot more aggro decks in general. So because of that, I've kind of put in stuff like even bigger than that. And we'll talk about it here in a second. But my main goal is like honestly go even more face now. Like before you had to take a little bit of a measured approach because there were a lot of like good fatigue / like mid-rangey fatigue old decks like Oldheim and then Contract Uziri and stuff like that. But I think that the format's going to speed up because I think Dory's going to be more in the mix. Bolton's going to be more in the mix. I think Fi's going to be even more in the mix. Like, I'm not saying they'll be the top decks, but they'll see more of them because of Oldheim being gone. And so because of that, I think the deck's got to move a little bit even faster now. And so that's the reason some of the changes I made. So the equipment suite is the same. Mask of Momentum's still the best mask, in my opinion. Pouncing Links you don't need in the deck anymore. I don't even run it. I'm not going to use against Icelander, and I'm not going to use against Uziri or Rockney. Some people might disagree with that, but I think if you sequence properly, Mask of Momentum applies the pressure that you want to apply, and Katsu's targets for Mask of Pouncing Links are very low. So Mask of Momentum all day, Breeze Rider Boots to help do some stupid, crazy combo Bonds of Ancestry turns that we've talked about before. Breaking Skills, enough said about this card. It's insane. Kodachis, and then Heart and Crosstrap and Tunic. I have both in the list. I always start with Heart and Crosstrap. The only time I'm going to run Tunic is against Wizard or against, if I know that it's a Fatigue Uziri or not Fatigue Uziri, but Contract Uziri, like a slower pace Uziri, then I'll put that in. But other than that, it's pretty much Heart and Crosstrap all day because I want to be able to get that Surging line off the first time I see it. So let's talk about what didn't change in the list. We're still running 3 Ancestral Empowerment, so non-attacks, right? Our cards that are non-attacks. 3 Ancestral Empowerment. We went from 2 to 3 Razor Reflexes, said 6 total. We have 2 Conceal Blades still, that's 8, and then we added in 2 even bigger than that. I had the even bigger than that just to have some more synergy. I put Snatch back in the list to have a little bit more on hits. Again, I think we're going to have more aggro in this format, at least starting out, because Oldheim being gone, aggro decks can play a little bit more. So I want to put a little bit more on hit to my deck. So I put in Snatch just to kind of help that on hit side of things. And then put in even bigger than that to have some synergy with Enlightened Strike and with Snatch. And heck, even with some of our combo cards that don't naturally have Go Again sometimes. So I put those in. We kept all the bonds on the same. I'm still running 3 red Bonds of Ancestry and 1 yellow, 3 Be Like Waters. I went up 1 more Surging Strike just to present this line a little bit more. Again, with all the aggro decks that don't want to block, presenting the Surging line pretty much every turn puts them in a really bad spot. So I think that that's kind of needed. Still running similar blues that we were before. Not a whole lot has changed. The big changes are even bigger than that to help race down those aggro decks a little bit more and have some good synergy with Snatch and with Enlightened Strike. That was one big change. Removing Pouncing Links was another big change. And the sideboard is really, I'm like predicting what I need to side for, but this obviously a sideboard can change. Command and Conquer for Lexi, for anyone that values their arsenal. Bolton, even for holding his Luminas, I think is going to be good for that. It's good against poppers for Prism, even though I think you're going to dunk on Prism for the most part. It's going to be good against Dromai. Just a good card. If you own it, use it. Flick Flack, I'm not mainboarding now. I put it in the side just because like we're going to have to race down a little bit more. And I think this is going to be mainly used against Bravo, against Uziri, and really against Bolton. I'll put it in just to have a couple cards that aren't attacks that are blocking. Reinforce the line for Uziri and Bravo, just to help tech into those a little bit more. Even Azalea, who want to go tall. Also, Flick Flack will come in for Azalea. I have 2 Burdens of the Past in here. This is mainly for decks like Uziri. They're going to want to block you out a little bit more, maybe with D-Reacts, and be able to, you know, just those slower decks that maybe just want to use D-Reacts against you. Maybe Tree Frog Dash will come in or something like that. Burdens of the Past is good for that. You obviously have your AB2, Blazing Yori for the mirror match and for Fi. And then, obviously, like I said, Tunic. So the deck hasn't changed a whole lot. Main changes are we add even bigger than that. We put in 3 Snatches, and we add a Razor Reflex, right? That's the main changes to the deck. And we add a Surging Strike, right? So that's kind of where I'm sitting. I'm happy with where the deck's at, and I think Katsu's in a good spot altogether. I think there's a couple different ways you can play Katsu. There's the Art of War builds. There's even bigger than that builds. There's some supplemental builds that I even think Turtle Katsu might have a shot at being relevant in this meta. We'll see. But I think that overall he's in a good spot. But yeah, let me know what you think. This is not a super crazy deck tech like normal. I'm not going to go super in depth because honestly, in my opinion, not a whole lot has changed. I think Katsu's in a good spot. I don't think you have to change a whole lot right now. I think he's just a really good deck. Like, there's some minor choices in here that some people might not agree with. I like 3 red Soul Bead Strikes. It's a red block 3 that attacks for 4. And in an aggro meta where they don't want to block, this card is fantastic. I really like that card a lot. Even cards like Fluster Fist are going to hit a lot more consistently. And yeah, you could go for this list. You could go for a mid-range list. You could go for a Turtle Katsu list. There's a lot of different lists you could do. And I think that overall, playing into the bonds line is probably your best bet because that's how you're going to race a lot of these decks. But overall, I think that, sorry, there's work outside. But overall, I think this is probably the best spot that Katsu could be in a long time. And I think that no matter how you play him, he's going to be in a good spot. So let me know what you think of the list. Super quick deck tech, probably the quickest Katsu deck tech ever. If you want me to go over something more in depth in the list, I'll do more in depth deck profiles once like there starts to be more competitive matches played and like, hey, I made this minor change for this reason. If you're new to the channel and there's a card in here you don't understand, let me know. I'll try my best to like give you my reasoning on why I'm using it. Also, I always get these questions, and hopefully you made it to this point of the video. Command and Conquer. If you don't have it, there is no true substitution. There isn't. It's not just in there for a popper. It's in there to do what it does, which is threaten their arsenal. If you're going to use a card that is not Command and Conquer, but you still want to have that popper capability, there's a couple of different cards you can do. I always get this. I'm not annoyed. I'm just saying, like, I feel bad because I can never give a good answer. Amnesia would actually be really good against decks like Prism because they'll lose the name Herald, so they can't go again. Or they'll not lose the name Herald. They'll lose. It's not good for Prism as much, but it's good for. Sorry, I'm thinking of different card. It's really good. I'm thinking of goodness gracious, off the top of my head. But Amnesia is good against cards that care about their names. Bravo's one. Katsu actually cares a lot about this. Where's the card I'm thinking of? I am having the ultimate brain fart right now. I'm having the ultimate brain fart right now. I'm pretty sure Race Face would be a good option as well. It's really good against a couple different decks in the format. Really, a Race Face and Amnesia are probably your best. Humble is really good if you have a really high Lexi meta. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart on that card right now. Humble is really good if you're in the Lexi meta because it can turn off her ability to flip her cards. And it's a popper. And then finally, Down and Dirty because you can defend with Arsenal. Really, your first option, in my opinion, is a Race Face, then Humble, and then probably Amnesia. But there's a couple different 6 powers that you could choose from to help kind of supplement that. And Lightning Strike, there is no true at all replacement for this card. really you could use just another good attack. Pounding Gale is a good one in my opinion. That you could put in. It's a 1 for 5 with 3 block that you can search for. I think that's fantastic. Couple of like little minor cards, but really, again, no true change for this one either. But other than that, I really feel confident about the deck. I think it's in a good spot. I'm confident in the hero. I think he's in a good spot. Just put in the time, put in the work. Katsu is an eye hero you're going to win with early on. You have to learn how to play the deck into different things. You can't just pick up and play it. It's not quite like Fi. Fi you can just pick up and throw cards down because it's pretty intuitive. Katsu takes a little bit of finesse. So when I get back from Europe, I definitely will do some gameplays. It's just the one thing I've never done on the channel, but I'll definitely will do it to get your all's thoughts on some stuff. But yeah, hopefully you like this type of content. If you do, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what else you want to see. Be really fun to hear y'all's thoughts. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all.